Hi everyone, I'm Sherry, and welcome to today's episode 1 of Color of the City. And we're gonna talk about Perth in Australia today. And if you ever wonder how is it like to live in Perth, study in Perth, and also if you want to know more about Perth, this is the video for you. And today we have Isabella here with us, and she kind of lives in Perth for a while, so I believe she can share a lot with you guys and also me about Perth today. And let's welcome Isabella now. And hi, Isabella, how are you? And perhaps you can make a short introduction about yourself.
Thanks, Sherry. Hi, everyone. I'm Isabella. I'm currently working as a regional manager for the University of Western Australia. I also spend my uni life in Perth, so I believe I'll be able to share a little bit of student experience with you and some tips of living in Australia in Perth. So, yeah.
Where is Perth?
Well, Perth is actually very near to Malaysia. So Perth is actually the capital city of Western Australia state, and Western Australia state is the largest state in Australia. Also, we have the same time zone between Perth and Malaysia. So students, when they study in Perth, they can always stay connected to home.
I've never been to Perth. Perth to me is like very nature, very green. So is it really like that?
I would say Perth is slightly slow pace, but of course we do have a vibrant city and we have our the metropolitan area of Perth. And but I do hear a lot of people telling me that Perth is a good place for retirement, which I don't deny that. But the reason why I really love Perth is because when I want to enjoy city life, I have that. But at the same time, when I want to enjoy the greens, the natural park, and so on, beaches as well, it's always within 20 minutes and you can reach there already. So it's really great for me. So I would say it's the best balance of both ways. Yeah.
How will students travel around in Perth?
We have a wide variety of transportation exists to travel around and to the city, including buses and trains. And also, good news for international students, you will be receiving 40% of transportation discounts when you are traveling in Perth. You know, in Malaysia, we have this touch and go card. So in Perth, we have the transportation card, which is called Smart Rider. So this is the card where student will use it the moment you arrive in Perth. So you can use it for any transportations like bus or train. And that card for students will be the concession card, which you will be receiving the 40% discounts. And also when you are in the Perth CBD, there are also free buses within the city called the CAT in capital. So you just have to take bus ride from where you live to the Perth city, and with 40% transportation discounts. When you arrive in the Perth CBD, you don't have to pay a single cent to travel around. And also for students who wonder how do you travel from Perth Airport to your accommodations in case it's your first time arriving in Perth, you would likely arrive Perth International Airport, which is about 15 to 30 minutes to drive from the city to the airport. So there are also shuttle services available from Perth City to the airport at the cost of around $24 or 24 Aussie dollars. And Perth Airport has 4 terminals. You will most likely arrive at T2, which is for international flights. But there are free shuttle services between each terminal as well. So don't worry, everything will be covered.
So how is the weather like in Perth?
Perth weather is usually, let me put it this way. We have summer, autumn, winter, and spring. So summer is usually August between December to February, and it has a high of 40 degree. Don't get shocked when you heard this 40 degree because it might seem very hot to even to Malaysian because over here in Malaysia, the weather is like maybe 36, 30. 32 degrees, somewhere there,
Uh,
30 plus degrees. Yeah. So the difference is that even though when Perth is having the summer, it is not as humid because Perth is relatively a relatively dry city. So in Perth, even though I experienced the summer myself, so
mhm.
it is hot, but you don't feel sticky because you don't sweat as much. Probably because it's dry, so the sweat comes and go. So you won't
Yeah.
feel sticky and uncomfortable. That's the difference that I find. And for autumn, it's usually occurs between March to May, and also spring is around September to November. So autumn and spring is usually when students are having classes, uni students. So it's from March to about end of February to May, and also September to November. So that's when you have classes, and the weather will be just perfect because it is like when you are in the aircon room. So I kind of like that weather, especially Perth is kind of windy as well. While for winter, which is usually during June to August, so it has a low of 5 degrees Celsius, which usually is at night or early in the morning. So during winter, from my experience, is that during daytime, usually it could go around about 18 degree. Yeah, it's only get it only get really cold when the wind blows. So if you stand
Mhm.
under the sun, then it's actually fine for me. And I personally love winter. But one thing to turn on is that it doesn't snow. So
Uh,
yeah, no snow. Yeah, that's right.
so, since I heard a lot about Melbourne, how the weather keep changing, let's say the first few minutes is sunny, then all of a sudden rain. Does it happen a lot in Perth?
From my experience, it doesn't happen a lot because I've heard about that as well. My friends who live in Melbourne have been telling me that morning I'm wearing a raincoat out, but in the afternoon sun shines brightly. So it changes quite frequently. But in Perth, according to my experience, that's not the case. So usually the weather won't have a high jump of 10 degrees Celsius. So yeah.
So it's pretty constant, right?
Predictable, I put it this way.
Okay, since I believe a lot of students would want to know where are the universities located in Perth. So, are they located near to each other or near the city or in suburb area?
There are a number of universities in Perth, and they are scattered around Perth. So, one of these universities is the University of Western Australia, which is the university I currently represent. So, for instance, UWA is located in Crawley area, which is slightly southwest of the city. And it takes approximately 10 to 15 minutes drive from UWA campus to the Perth CBD. So, I believe all universities in Perth it should there is access to the public transport, so it shouldn't be a problem for students to travel around, whether or not it's from this university to city or the other. So don't worry because all these universities they have plenty of bus stops nearby as well. Some of them are even near to maybe train station, so it should be able to a student should be able to access easily.
What kind of accommodation does students usually choose? Or, they look at the locations, the security, and also the types of accommodation.
Most of the universities in Perth have their own
Mm-hmm.
on-campus accommodations, and some of them do provide meal packages as well. So there are also plenty of off-campus accommodations surrounding the universities. Example of off-campus accommodations include like apartments or houses, or they also offer shared bedrooms, on-bedroom and suite, and so on. On-campus accommodation could cost roughly around 360 Aussie dollars per week, which include meal package as well. So we would normally encourage new international students to opt for on-campus accommodation so that they can fully utilize the university facilities and also meet friends from all over the world. So, for instance, UWA on campus accommodation, we often organize inter-college activities for students to engage with each other. And also to take note that the rental in Australia is normally paid monthly but calculated weekly. So the off-campus accommodation, for example, could cost around $160 per week. And this actually doesn't include meals. Also take into consideration that students staying off campus will have to pay for transportation fee to travel to campus.
So are these accommodations usually very near to like restaurants or grocery stores? Because I feel like students, right? Okay, let's say for me, because last time I studied by myself alone, I'll prefer when there's a very nearby restaurant and grocery store so that I can cook myself. So is it like a very walking distance or
I would say it is actually, and also to take note, like I mentioned earlier, for example, you start a lot of the university accommodation, they cover meal package as well. So
mm,
some of the students might have already gotten a meal package in their rental, so they wouldn't have to eat out. So unless if they are interested, they are keen to eat out, I would say most of the accommodations are near to the restaurants,
mhm.
grocery shops as well, grocery shop for their grocery shopping. So that's not a problem at all. And again, um, for example, like in Malaysia, we have the big grocery supplier like Aeon and so on. So in Perth, we also have those such as Coles and Woolworth. So all these retailers will have their shops nearby the residential areas. So it should be easy for students to do their grocery shoppings and to buy their favorite ingredients for their meals to cook at home.
Is it hard for them to get Asian supplies, Asian grocery supplies?
Not at all, because there are plenty of Asian stores nearby and also in the Perth CBD. My favorite is actually to visit the Asian store instead of the other grocery stores because I'm an Asian food lover. So I love Asian cuisine so much that I will cook my own Asian cuisine every day. So I visit to Asian stores a lot.
So we talk about so much, and what are those things that maybe a traveler or even a student must do, must see, and must experience in Perth?
I would say a road trip is a must for students who first arrive, who first visit to Perth, because Perth really has a lot of the um, nice places where I think students should go. Sharing a few here from my experience, Kings Park is one of them. And Kings Park is just located nearby to our campus, UWA as well, actually. So Kings Park is actually one of the world's largest and most beautiful inner city park. Kings Park is a home to spectacular Western Australia Botanic Garden. So they display a lot of the species of the state's unique flora, over
Mm.
3,000 species of them. And visitors can also enjoy unobstructed views of the Swan and Canning rivers and the city skyline as well. You can try visiting Kings Park in the morning and also at night. It will give you two different sceneries, and it's really nice. And also, you wouldn't want to miss going on a road trip in Perth as well, like I mentioned. So from up north to down south, there are many locations, including Margaret River, Busselton, Mandurah, Rottnest Island, and so on. So I personally have driven 3 hours from Perth City to Margaret River on a 3 days, 2 nights trip, and it was during my tuition-free week in my uni days. So Margaret River has a number of activities that you can participate, including wine tasting at their wineries, trying out their delicious chocolates, or just a cup of coffee or tea at one of their numerous coffee shops. On the way back to the Perth CBD from Margaret River, you can also pass by Busselton, which is home to the Busselton Jetty. So Boston Jetty is the longest timber powered jetty in the southern hemisphere, and it is around 1,841 meters long. It is a really nice place, and some of my friends have also stop for another day to stay another day in Boston Jetty when they're on the way back to Margaret River. But unfortunately, I was on a rush trip, so I didn't make it. But the next trip, when I'm in Perth, I'll make sure that I'll stay at least for one more night in Boston town to explore. And also, last but not least, I'm not sure whether you have heard of quokka before, but quokka is a native to Western Australia, and you can find quokka only in Western Australia, and we have a lot of quokkas in Rottnest Island, which is about a 30 minutes jetty ride from the Perth CBD. So quokka is a very cute animal, and
Is
you
it
can
the one
all
that howling?
that's right. So quokka has also been well known as the happiest animal in the world. So not just I like quokka. If you can go and search online, you will see the famous actor Chris Hemsworth. He actually visited to Perth and took a selfie with quokka as well, with a big smiling face on quokka face. So they are really cute, and you can only find this in Rottnest Island when you're in Perth. You can actually travel there, but um, they are the native to that island, and we are actually the visitor in this case, so we are visiting their home. And just to take note that we are not allowed to touch them, so we can't pet them. That's why what I did was I just sit there and wait for quokka to come to me so that I can capture the selfie. And trust me, I think I got 1,000 plus shots, but I couldn't get a proper one because they just keep on moving. They are very small actually, not in a big size yet.
So they are like smaller than koala bear or something.
Definitely smaller than that, slightly smaller.
Mhm. Yeah, so it must be really cute then.
I think there are more than 1,000 of quokkas in Rottnest Island. Definitely more than that. Yeah. So when you arrive in at the Rottnest Island from at the jetty, you will be able to see all the quokkas running in that place already.
They're like, yeah, welcome to my home.
Exactly, and we're not allowed to feed them as well.
Oh, okay, so they have their own food, just koala bear then.
Yeah, so they eat all the natural fruits, seeds, and so on the island. Yeah, but we're still not allowed to feed them.
Okay, yeah, too bad.
But they're really cute. They're really cute.